thing to take note of, kindly ensure that your background is, how do I put it? Kindly ensure your background, it complements the presenter, the person who's giving us the content. Make sure the light is not deflecting attention, for instance, or there are no shadows in the back or people moving around. This is for the benefit of all of us. We will receive the audio afterwards, and it's also for posterity, future generations. Another rule, please note that we will call out the orders according to the way that they are appearing on the program. So kindly prepare yourself and make sure you are ready before I call your name. 4 to 5 minutes each presenter. So when the time reaches 4 minutes, we will give you a reminder that it's time for you to wrap up. But we might give you more time since not all the authors that were invited are on the program. So meaning the authors that are available now, you have more time. But please make 5 minutes the benchmark for your presentations. Another thing, there is a raise hand feature on the platform. This is for when you want to ask a clarity, or maybe I have forgotten something, you're sending me a reminder. The chat, the raise hand feature, to open the raise hand feature, just go to participants, click over participants, and then the list of all the people that are attending the meeting, they will appear on the side of the screen, and then you will see the raise hand function. I hope I have clarified. Another thing, just a reminder, for all inquiries relating to author support, writing, publishing, and why you need to register yourself as an author on our database for Tshwane libraries, send those inquiries to librariesho@tshwane.gov.za. Thank you very much. Yeah, I believe everyone is ready. I'm going to call the first author. The first author on the program, it's Mr. Lindokuhle Simelane, who published the book, The Two Worlds. Mr. Simelane, are you ready, sir? Over to you.
Please just give me a moment.
Okay, noted.
Sorry. As I'm trying to click on my video, it says that you disabled, the host disabled my video.
Is it? Let's try to sort that one out. Mr. Simelane, are you winning?
It still says I cannot, it says you cannot start your video because the host is disabled.
Okay,
okay, yes. Yes.
Oh yeah, perfect. Thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. And I am Lindokuhle Simelane, 26 of age this year. Yes, I have called The Two Worlds, and that's the book that I want to talk to you about. So I want to introduce the book. The name or the title of my book is The Two Worlds. The Two Worlds. What inspired me to write the book, The Two Worlds. Actually, firstly, the book, it's more of a spiritual book. It deals with everything that is spiritual. I'm the young person who grew up in church. All my life at home, there was a church, so I grew up in church. But along the way, I realized that I had a lot of things that I wanted to know. So I would always ask questions regarding these things of church and everything. So I'd ask questions, I'll always be babbling, all that, but there was always a limited time for me, or limited information from the people who used to teach me the things of the church. So I started going all out, deciding on myself that I'll just seek for more information. So when I finally came with this information, or revelation, I decided to write the book. And I was also inspired by, a lot of people. I saw my friend, this other friend of mine who finally published his book. I think it was 2019. So when I saw it was possible, I saw that, okay, I can also do this. I started saving a lot of money to start publishing my book and all that. And then I got inspired to write the book. But it was not just a thing that I started being inspired in writing the book like a year ago or something like that. It has been there for years, for many years. I believe 6 years back, I've always had the desire to publish a book. And so I started writing the book. And the target market of my book is a group of people that it's selected in three different groups of people. The first group is a group of people that are willing to know more about God. Those who are saying, we want more insight about this being, this higher power we've been hearing about. And then the second class, or the second group of people that the book targets, is a group of people that are saying that they have a spiritual issue that is going on in their lives. They do not understand what is happening. So the book is more of an insight or an eye-opener or an enlightenment, or the book of enlightenment that will open someone's eyes so that they may realize what is it that they're going through and everything. And then the third type of the people the book targets is a group like me, the people who were like me, those who grew up in church and then feel within themselves that, you know what I know is not really enough. I want to know more. I want to know actually a lot of things. So the summary of the chapters, the important chapters for the group that says, I want to know more, there is a chapter, I believe, from chapter 3 going straight to the last chapter of the book, because it has got about 5 chapters. From chapter 3 going to the last chapters, it deals with that individual who's saying, I want to know more. I've been in church. I've been raised in church. I was told 1, 2, and 3 is wrong. 1, 2, and 3 must be done. But I want to know more. I believe there is more information. So it's all about self construction. When you read my book, it will improve your faith. It will improve who you are, your insight, your understanding, and your enlightenment. And then the summary of other chapters, I believe that all my chapters in the book, they do play a major role. Like there is a chapter, the second chapter, that plays a role mostly on those who are spiritually looking for an enlightenment, saying, you know, I'm going through a lot of things. Many people, even some of the people that are part of this message, this meeting, they do go through things like, I had a dream. I do not understand whether it was a vision or I'm hallucinating. So I'm trying to order out those things in that book. I'm trying to give about that understanding to people that there is another world. The reason why the title of the book is The Two Worlds is that I believe that beside the world in which we live, the physical world, there is another world in which everything starts from it. There is the existence of another reality somewhere else. Whenever I sleep, whenever I wake up, whenever I walk, whatever that I do, there is always another power that is either looking above me, that is looking at me, that is protecting me, or there is another force that is fighting against me. So the two worlds is that book of awakening, that there is another world that is actually more active, as much as this world in which we live in is also active. And then the challenges that I came across in the writing process and the publication of the book, well, I won't lie to you. I started writing the book, The Two Worlds, last year. It was 2020. From January, when I received my job after 2 years of unemployment. So when I received the job and I had to relocate from home to a place that was near where I'm working, the challenge that I had actually was I had to even sleep on the floor for 6 months trying to save up the money to publish my book finally. And I went through a lot. I remember that I would write the book and finish every single thing. And then I would have to rewrite. I believe that I had to wrap every single thing from scratch because what I felt inside was not enough. You know, I felt that this book was not really touching me as the writer, as the author of this book. So I had to rewrite and, you know, go through the book. I believe that I did that 3 or 4 times until the final book came out. And then how do people get access to my book and the purchase price? Well, firstly, I've got the hard copies of the books and I've got the ebooks, the software of the book, the 2 worlds. So the book so far has sold, I believe, plus minus 50 copies because I have targeted those people, especially people in churches. I have reached out to them, people that I've met with in different circles, whereby, you know, they had some spiritual problems, you know, for that spiritual enlightenment. So I was able to sell the book to them, those who needed the book. It was directly, at most times it was directly. Only when there is a distance between me and that person who's purchasing the book, then I'll try to query it. But then it would also be determined by the number of the books that they sell, you know, because I'm looking at the commission and the money that I also need to make in the book. And then the price of the hard copy is, I've been selling it with 170, but then with the selling and the marketing of the book, it has cost me to limit, to come down to 150, which is also convenient with the printing price and every single thing, which when it comes to the imprinting of the book. And then the ebooks, they sell with the amount of 60 rands each. So yes, that is me and the book, The 2 Worlds. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Lindokuhle. We all heard him. I think he has done justice to his material. Moving on, for the purposes of time, Mr. Stenmuntu, may you please kindly shut. Oh, thank you very much, sir. We will now go to Ms. Amukelani Makuvela, who wrote the book Basket of Griefs. Ms. Amukelani, over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Thabo. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, I can hear you. I assume the others can hear you as well.
All right. Thank you so much. My name is Amukelani Makubela, and I've written 2 books within, and the subheading is The Journey, but people call it Within the Journey. And the second book, which I have published, it's Basket of Grief, which is the one that has been published during lockdown in October last year. So what inspired me to write The Basket of Grief is I've actually realized that we don't have a lot of people who actually tells our story according to the way it should be told. Our stories are told, but I feel like they're half told. So I actually went on a journey to interview people and to search on what actually what is it that is our true stories. Our stories that people don't tell, the stories of abuse, the stories of traditions, the story of spiritual, the preternatural, as Lindo said. So this book, it's actually talks about how are we benefiting from our traditions? And if we stay away, what are we actually losing from it? And it also talks about the preternatural, that talks about the other spiritual world where a lot of people don't know about it. It happens every day, but a lot of people don't really know about it. And it also talks about the depression, what actually causes depression. A lot of books actually has remedies on how to deal with depression and how to deal with problems, but do they go into the roots of those problems? Do they know what are those problems? They don't really know. So this book actually touched at the roots of the problems before you get the remedy. And what one may ask, why touch those chapters, why touch those topics? Because these are the most important. You cannot actually heal someone or prescribe a medication to someone without knowing what is their problem. So if we go into that, we'll definitely know what is the problem. A lot of people who have actually read my book is more like, yo, Amo, you're heading back home. You're actually telling us, or you're reminding us of what we go through and we are hiding every day. So one may ask, what are the target, what are my clientele or the target market of this book? The target market of this book is from 16 years of age up until 50, 60, 70. It actually helps everybody because we have all the chapters into the book, fulfillment, how to slow down. There are many chapters that can actually help a lot of people. Some it may just remind them on what they need to deal with. And the challenges that I had while I was doing the book, before I could even go far, the challenge that most authors, or can I say myself, that I actually get, it's actually a question of, why do you think you want to write? Do you think it's going to sell? Why do you think people want to hear that? So coming out of that pressure and negative influence, it's one of the biggest challenge that I think every author has, because you need to come from that in a positivity that, no, I have the story to tell here and I'm going to tell it. Then when it comes to the challenges on the publication, it's mostly, what I can say is mostly finances, or it's mostly not knowing the information. But when you really want to publish, you go check, you meet up with other authors, like I did in my first book. I met one author who's actually well known, Sai Chabalala, and he has helped me, took me through into all the things that I needed to do. But then, because you need to advertise the book, you need to market it, and marketing is money. You need to print it, it's money. So it's where you realize that even getting the publishing company, it needs you to have a lot of money to do that. So those were the challenges that I came through, and I know that a lot of authors will be going through that, because you need to save a lot in order for you to get it published. In order for you to get the distributors, you need everything, that just need a lot of money. Otherwise, I am so sure that most of us would have published a lot of books, because we like writing every day. And how do you now, the summary of my book, the whole chapters that I explained that I had, I feel like it actually touches base to every person, an older person, younger, from 16 years, 20, 25, because when you go to Preternatural, it talks about people who are actually experiencing all those problems, maybe in the natural world, or the things that we don't see with our own eyes. And then the fulfillment, it talks about how to know yourself. You need to know yourself before you can please everybody else. And how do you get out of that if you're already inside the depressions? So it's actually for everybody. And the purchase price, the first book, it's 100 rands, and you can actually get it from me. You can inbox me on my Facebook, which is Shanbrisha, @Shanbrisha, and then my Instagram page, which is Amu Makubela. And then the second one, Basket of Grief, is 250 rands, the purchase price. And you can also purchase it from me, or you can get it from Take a Lot. You can also get it from Amazon. So when you are abroad, then you can, if you buy it from Amazon, it's $11. And if you buy it from Take a Lot, it's the same price as mine, is 250 rands. Before I can actually conclude, Thabo, I would like to say thank you for what the library is doing. It's doing a lot. I mean, like, most of the people don't actually, I can say we're not really a reading nation, but with what you're doing with programs like this can actually push a lot of people to want to read more. So thank you very much for recognizing us, the authors. We really appreciate. I've actually been saying this is such a very, very exciting time for us authors. So thank you very much, Thabo. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. Amu. I'm now going to the third author. I will call Mr. Pontsho Motubatsi, who wrote the book, The Prevailing Church. Spirit, talk to me. Mr. Pontsho?
Yes, sir. Mr. Tabo.
Yes, sir. The platform is all yours.
I'm trying to get my video. Am I visible?
Not yet, sir.
Is it visible now?
Not yet, sir.
Yeah, I'm trying. I think I'm.
No, it's fine. You can continue, sir. It's fine.
The host has stopped you or stopped it, something like that. Check from your side, sir.
All right.
Yes, I think I'm getting there now.
Thank you.
Thank you. My name is Pontsho Motubatsi. I'm an author of the Prevailing Church book. Thank you to everyone who has joined the meeting. It's an excitement to come and sit with the fellow like-minded people, especially authors. It's a privilege also as an upcoming author. It's my first book that I've wrote now to come and share experiences and challenges with other fellow authors. I think it's very delighting to have such a moment. As I've said that I've wrote a book and published a book that is more church-based because I'm a typical pastor, if I have to say. Now, but when I look at the content and what we are trying to address or what we are addressing in the book, I realize that these are principles that one can apply in every aspect of their lives, because one of the things that we are addressing there, it's being a visionary. We speak on fundamentals and need of a vision before you do or venture into anything, you know. Those fundamentals, I think those are key things that anyone, where any organization needs to have. Now, we are talking in such things. The inspiration of writing the book, I wanted to write a story because one, I'm leading a church in a village, outskirts part of Northwest. Now, I had some challenges that I came across. Then I realized that it is not only to be popular for one to write a book. It is not only for one to be popular, for one to be great. Even in the obscurity, one can still be great. Now, I'm sharing the book to say there are certain experiences that we faced in pursuing the vision, and we saw it fit that we share our experiences, our challenges, and our victories with other people, that they may be in a process of building something in their lives. It be an organization, it be their personal vision, it be their family vision. That in building also, you don't only need a vision, you need also what I call vision bearers. Vision bearers are those that are relationships that comes into your life so that you'll be able to achieve your desired outcome, because no man is an island, and no man should be a lone ranger. You need other people, you need other influences for you to achieve certain goals and to achieve certain dreams. Now, these are certain things that we're sharing. We are not only speaking on that, we also speak on personal level experience of challenges that we faced. I mean, the village that we're in, we had some share of spiritual challenges that we came across, and we also came across conflicts and certain internal challenges amongst people in relationships. Now, we are also talking around such things. We also had challenges on resources because we are in a village. Then we are addressing such things, that should you find yourself in a position or in a place where you are in the midst of challenge, you can still prevail, you can still make it, you can still succeed. And making it and succeeding doesn't mean you have to be big and popular, but it means you are able to carry out the assignment. You are able to accomplish the desired goal of whatever that you intend to pursue. And we should be careful. In the book, we're trying to say we should be careful not only to measure greatness because of standard that other people are setting, but we should be able to measure greatness also based on what we are faithful in doing in spite and despite of the challenges that we may be undergoing. And there are other parts that we talk about wisdom of building, you know. There are certain elements that you will need in life and certain wisdom that you need to acquire. Some parts you have to learn by observing. Some parts you have to learn by having mentors in your life, people who will report to you, people who will go to and they speak to your life. And also you have to have coaches, people who will be able to guide you and challenge you to think, challenge you to put your mind and your heart in following your vision and your dream in life. And with all that said, I've published the book late last year in the midst of COVID-19, and it has been a very challenging journey. But with the help of people who have published before me, I saw it fit that I should write it and expose my material and my manuscript to people on the same spiritual matters and just general people with interest of reading and writing. And they will share their views and give their feedback. And in that, I will be able to make changes and adjustments where they are needed. But also with the process of writing the book, I didn't want to only write the book. I wanted to be an experience where I learned a new set of skills, you know, in around publishing, around writing. Therefore, in that, I had to make a lot of things myself and just asking for clarity and guideline there. But I had to put efforts and do a lot of work because I also wanted to learn from that. And the price of the book, it's 200 rands. We are selling directly from by calling us, by WhatsApping, and from our Facebook advertisements that we do. But currently we are doing it direct marketing. We make it available to people who are interested, people who are close to us, and we have managed to sell quite a number of books. We are looking forward to reprint soon because we are only left with 2 books. Thank you, Thabo, and all our friends there. It has been awesome to be with you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Motubatsi. I was just about to interrupt you there. Thank you for that. Moving on, we will now call forth Mr. Obri Mohase, who wrote the book Mamelodi, Reflections of a Time. Mr. Mohase, over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Thabo. I really appreciate, the opportunity. I am Obri Mohase from the township called Mamelodi. I'm an author of 4 books as we speak. I have authored Evasive State. I have authored How South Africa Shaped. And my latest book that is also available, it's called The Immortal Kalamazoo Mugoni, the South Africa's first Black football pioneer, who went on to play in Europe in 1956. The book Mamelodi Reflections of a Lifetime is a book that depicts the history, the heritage of the township Mamelodi. What inspired the book? I am a history lover. I love history with all my heart. And it is something that actually resonates well with the fact that the past is a treasure trove of ideas and knowledge, which one can adapt to interpret and understand today's events. Mamelodi is an interesting story that is full of rich history and heritage. the book should also be used, as a reference. And the book, illustrates also the role Mamelodi played in the country's economic, political, and socio tapestry. The target market is everyone. Mamelodi is a place for others created by others. So when I say the target market is everyone, I really mean everyone. The entire world should know the Pretoria's hidden treasure, that is Mamelodi. And, even generations still to come need to know where Mamelodi comes from. And the cover page of the book I used was a picture of Mamelodi in 1958. And you will understand that not much was developed then. But the picture speaks to the reader in interpreting how Mamelodi developed going forward. The book Mamelodi Reflections of a Lifetime has got, interesting chapters. The Eerste Fabrieken story is one important piece of history that has ever happened in Mamelodi, where Samuel or Senimax and Alois Hugo Nelmapias opened the first industry, which became a distillery that fed Johannesburg gold mines with refreshments. And the Anglo-Boer War is another story in that particular book. And I also have, a poem by one of the greatest authors by the name of O.K. Matsepe called Tshwane ya Mamelodi. Mamelodi is Tshwane and Tshwane is Mamelodi. And we also have a chapter that actually tells the story of how Mamelodi came to be following the forced removals of 1950. And the precursor of education was also tested in Mamelodi. There is a chapter there speaking of the Pretoria Bantu Normal College, PBNC, where Emeritus Desmond Tutu, Kalamazoo Mugoni, Bishop Stanley Mohoba School, and this we all know that they became very important individuals in our society. And also one interesting story is of Dr. Nico Smith, the very first white Afrikaner who applied to government for residency in Mamelodi during the height of apartheid. It is another chapter that is very much interesting. The challenges, always it would actually be resources, but researching also is a challenge. Mamelodi's story is not in the books, it's not in the internet. It is basically residing in people's houses, and it has been a cumbersome area to can actually overcome. And publishing, we did, I also did the self-publishing part, and people access my books, through referrals. For those who haven't listened to my radio interviews with 702 Power FM, Kaya FM, with the print media, Pretoria News, Daily Sun, and but people, still contact me as being referred to by someone, and this is a typical coffee book, pictorial with captions. When I talk of Eerste Fabrieken, there is a picture there. When I talk of forced removals, there is a picture of bulldozers, demolishing houses in Riverside, Lady Selborne. You name all the black spots that were removed. And the book is priced at 350 rands, only 350 rands. And I actually want to conclude by saying that the failure to tell our stories, we risk becoming intellectual refugees. Thank you, Thabo. I will end there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mohase. Moving on, we will now go to Ms. Barbara Ada, who wrote the book Will. the passenger delaying flight. Over to you, Miss Barbara. Thank you.
I'm unmuting. How does that, is that working okay?
Yes, ma'am. I
Good.
can hear you.
Good morning. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. Or is that okay? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now we can hear you. You had muted your audio.
Oh, okay, okay. Good morning. Good morning. I'm happy to be here and listening to all you authors. I'm the author of 3 books. The first one was In Tangier, We Killed the Blue Parrot. The second one was End. And the third one now is called Will, the Passenger Delaying Flight. It's a book about a person who's stuck in an airport, and he's stuck in the airport for 24 hours. And so he's looking around at the different people who in the airport. And then all their stories are told from their own perspectives and from his perspective. And essentially what the book is trying to say is that we may all have stereotypes and prejudices depending upon what the person looks like, who they are, etc., etc. But in fact, there isn't a single story for one person. What a single story does is it creates stereotypes and it creates prejudice. So that's really what the book is about. But also, I suppose it's a metaphor for Africa, because people are always saying, oh, Africa, it's one country, there's one story, and it's all about poverty and rhino poaching and all of those kinds of things. But actually, Africa consists of 54 countries, and each country has a different story, and even within those countries, there are different stories. So really, that's what the book is about. How I was inspired in 2 instances. One, I was actually sitting in an airport myself and looking at all the different people that were walking around, and you can formulate your own views and stories depending upon who they are and what they look like, but actually they probably have their own different stories. But the second part was I then met a man who was German, who was coming to South Africa to live to Africa. He was coming to live in Namibia. And he told me that he was stuck in Charles de Gaulle Airport in Paris for 48 hours. And what he did was he just looked around and looked at the different people there. So really, that's what it's about. The book is, as I said, it consists of the different stories of people in an airport. But there's also Volker, who's the protagonist. And he sort of talks his way through the book. It's a stream of consciousness in many senses, of his views and thoughts. Then there are also the people who he looks at and comes across. There's a trans woman, there's a person with dwarfism, there's a pedophile, there's a terrorist, there's a child trafficker, but they all come with their different stories. And they all undermine the stereotype of what we think about those kinds of different people. What were the challenges in writing the book? Well, I suppose it was confronting my own stereotypes. We all have stereotypes as to what we think of certain people, and I had to confront those when I had to unwrap different people. Access to the book, it's published by Mojaji, which is a women's press in Cape Town, so one can find it on their website. One can also find it on Africa Books Collective and at Take-A-Lot, and it is available in some bookshops, depending upon who's ordered it, in the country as a whole. You can also get it as an ebook. So, yeah, and I think it's about between 200 and 230 Rand. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Miss Barbara. Ada, sweet and short. Moving on, we will now go to Mr. Martin Cholo, who wrote the book First Fruits. Over to you, Brother Martin.
Thank you so much. Am I clear?
You are
Greetings.
very clear, sir.
Greetings, everyone, lovely authors, librarians, all stakeholders. My name is Brother Martin Chulo. I'm staying in Region 4, Centurion. I have written a book called First Fruits. Am I available on video? I don't see myself.
Yes, we can see you, sir. Continue.
I have written a book called First Fruits. The inspiration to write First Fruits, I was about to publish my own book called Exposure of Lies, Elevation of Lives. So as I was busy about to publish the book, God said, no, man, you have to honor people that imparted you spiritually, that elevated your mentality to understand the things of God and the things of life generally. Then that's when this book is a collection of sermons as to honor those who helped me to become the man I am. I was a drug addict. In fact, this book, I'm basically telling a story of how God delivered me from cannabis, psychosis, drug addiction, depression, and also gangsterism, because I came out of those things due to the people who imparted in me spiritually. So this book is a combination of sermons that assisted me to be the person that I am today. And then the target market of the book is everyone who's going through depression, parents of drug addicted brothers and sisters, or also drug addicts, people who are depressed and confused, young and old people in general. It's a powerful book that will give you abilities to understand God and to understand life in a powerful manner. It made me who I am today. So I know that whoever gets to read this book will be spiritually transformed, regenerated, and empowered to face challenges of life. So chapters of the book, it consists of hear and do. Obedience in general. We know that for someone to be as best as they are supposed to be, obedience is the first factor that enables them to be as best, because once one is not obedient, they will be unable to become as best. Obedience doesn't only start with God. It starts with parents, it starts with brothers and sisters, it starts with different people who are trying to guide you in a way that you should go. So it is a book that will make people come out of peer pressure, but be implemented into following the orders of their parents, the orders of those that are caring much about themselves. And then the other one is youth and power. So this book will elevate that power within each and every individual to understand that within them there is that young person who is always willing to be as best as they are supposed to be. So it's also speak about giving, the other chapter that I love the most, because many people are not aware of the impact giving has more than receiving. As much as the Bible says, blessed is the hand that gives more than the hand that receives. Then it speaks about selfishness, the ability to make people not to be selfish, but to understand that they are created on earth to assist other people and to be an impact towards other people's lives. And then it speaks about humility and money. This is the most important part, because whenever we get to be successful, whenever we get to get money, that's when we get to forget that we still need to be humble in our substance ability to create. And then we still need to respect people. Even if we have money, no matter how rich you are, you must always differentiate between old and young, and know that humility is the factor that makes one amazing. And then the challenges I came across, there are so many chapters, I just can't read all of them. And then I know that they are very inspirational, empowering, and very much transforming. And then the challenges I came across, I can't say I came across challenges, except that ever since I published the book, I haven't sold so many books, hence I was unable to go out to people. I appreciate what Pretoria, what Tshwane municipality is doing to make us publish this book online. I mean to give it to people online. I realize that it's a very great opportunity that is about to empower us and to make us out there so that people can be able to access our book. I know for every challenge, when God gives a vision, he also gives a provision for it. So the challenges were not as bad, except that after publishing it, it hasn't been bought. I only sold about 100 and something copies. So I still need to sell more. And then where can the book be found? I have a website, www.brothermartinchosen.co.za. I also use WhatsApp 079-111-2682. It also works on calls for in any case one wants to get hold of me to get the book. And then the other thing I am using to sell the book is Facebook. On Facebook, I'm Brother Martin Chosen, Brother Martin Chosen. So whoever is willing to get the book can get it. I'm still working on the issue of taking it to the shops and taking it to nearby by churches so that people can be able to access my book. I really appreciate this platform, and may God bless everyone involved in this and the municipality of Tshwane. I really appreciate. God bless you.
We receive. Thank you, Mr. Cholo. Thank you for your presentation. Moving on, we are now coming to, oh, she's ready. Miss Pawalo Maketa, who wrote the book, Mountains and Hills to Overcome. Over to you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It is indeed a privilege and a great honor to be teaming up with the Tshwane Libraries. And I think the biggest greetings for me goes out to fellow authors and just, you know, good wishes to all of us who are trying to bring forth those African stories that you know, seldom told by us. Let me do a brief, try and follow the program. As indicated earlier, my name is authored a book titled Mountains and Hills to Overcome. This was inspired mostly by conversations I had with different people, you know, traveling across the globe. I think my work situation has always put me in, you know, foreign countries, and I realized that, you know, our South African stories, our life experiences as human beings are not that much different. Social ills surround us like a plague. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. And in most instances, challenge our capacity for joy, challenge our capacity for peace, and for growth and development as well-rounded human beings. But then what I discovered is that each one of us, each human being, possesses inherent strength to choose to overcome the mountains and the hills that life presents. So that was mainly the inspiration. And coming back home, being a mother of you know, 3 people, at that time my sons were preteens, I looked at what was put, the material that was put on their desks, and I realized that there was so much you know, left wanting in as far as teaching our children at schools our typical South African or even African stories. So then I sat down and I looked at what we had experienced, and I put together all those conversations, and that is how the book was born. So it has got a local flavor to it, but it also has a global flavor to it. My target audience is the youth. I'm very passionate about the youth because in Sesotho, we say, meaning that you can train kids to become what you aspire for them to become while they're still young. At our age, well, I'll speak for myself, we have developed so many habits that are not so easy to change. So I'm targeting the youth with a pure intention of saying, this is the best way that one can attempt to live this life. And the mountains and the hills are definitely going to be there. But again, this is how best one can overcome them. Challenges. I think over and above what all the other authors have indicated in terms of lacking resources, I would like to add time, you know, because like I said, as a full-time employee, I needed to write like 3 a.m. In the morning before I go to work. We even established what we call a 3 a.m. club. And I'm sure most authors can relate to that because that is the time when, you know, the households are quiet, the roads are quiet, and one can just focus and try and put your thoughts in paper. So time was one of the big ones for me. And some of the questions really that I raise in the book is, how are we raising our boys and girls in our households? It's very introspective in nature. what kind of contribution are we making in our communities, especially as parents and adults, in our attempt to influence our youth so as they can become better adults? The next question is, what values are we instilling in the youth to promote that probability of them becoming better people? And maybe, isn't it time to perhaps introspect and look at ourselves as possible contributors to these social challenges that affect all of us? Because one can sit here and say, wow, there's violence, there's anger all around us, there's addictions all around us, there are gender role misunderstandings all around us. But isn't it time that we just take a step back and say, how am I as an individual contributing to all those? Isn't it time perhaps to unlearn all that we have known to be true and have witnessed that it is not working, and retrain ourselves as to how we can coexist as human beings and live better in harmony? And I'll relate to growing up. I mean, it was safe for us to run around as young girls and play in the streets. Now what we do when we have children, we put up high walls to try and prevent them from, you know, or other people from having access to them. Isn't maybe
Sorry, Ms. Babalo. Sorry for that. Please kindly wrap up the presentation, please, for the sake of time.
Okay.
Thank you.
I will wrap on the access to the book. We are available on Amazon. We published the book on the 22nd of November in 2020. We do have a Facebook page. We do have a website called mountainsandhills.org. I'm happy to put all that information in the chat so as we can all just have access to it. But just also in closing, Thabo, I would like, you know, exchange books at some point and read up on each other's stories and try to also promote one another, because you know, we will all have a different story to tell. Thank you very much, Thabo, and back to you.
Loving the background. Colleagues, we are pressed for time, so moving on. I will now call forth Mr. Stan Munso, who wrote the book, The Rage Ashes. Mr. Munso, please note that you have 4 minutes, strictly, sir. We are pressed for time. Thank you.
I think you just tried to steal one of my minutes, but that's okay. Our authors, everybody, you know, I'm thankful for this morning. I'm just gonna go straight into it. I am an author of Tears in My Hands, and a whole lot of other books, children's books, including Under the Shade of Wisdom, Lonely by the Window, Diphiri Misi, Emotionally Disarmed, Mehabawi Wejala Havingoja, The Ash Rages, The Tone of a Broken Heart, and I'm busy with a book called The Diplomat Who Never Returned Home. I think the reason why I wrote books is because I see some of the, you know, the visuals of the books in their dreams, and I'm also inspired by yourselves as authors, because I read a lot, and I'm inspired by our stories that were not told properly, that we need to recorrect and trying to recorrect. And I'm just also inspired by fantasy, just to change the world in a different kind of a way. My market for the books, everybody, but then specifically on the book that I am presenting today, The Rage Ashes, is mainly anybody who is above 16 years of old, because of the language that is there, and just the content that is there. So I think my books can be found in different spaces, including Amazon, including the specific libraries that I have selected. But I think if you go to any bookstore in the country, they will be able to source that for you. I don't know if you can see my book on the screen. I thought I wanted to share that, but I don't know if it is shared or maybe.
Yes, it's visible, so we can see it.
Thank you so much. And then the Rage Ashes is mainly about a young girl who was kidnapped and trafficked. And so I think part of the emphasis is children trafficked in 3 countries at the age of 8. She came back as a 30-year-old. And because she felt that the president who adopts the law of the country parliament was supposed to be the one who protected her and did not. And then she comes back and kidnaps the president. And then in the process, she is in this room, and then she burns that room, and together with the president, her and together with the president, burn, and their ashes melt together, or they combine together. And when the burial is taking place, she was buried together with the president. So eventually she lived a person as a traffic person, as a downtrodden person who was not recognized by anybody, but she was later buried as the president. So essentially the book is about, let us not neglect the problems of people, because they may come back and retaliate in a manner that is not going to be, very pleasant for anybody. My book it's fluent. I sell it at 180, but then it is free to anybody who is, who loves to read but do not have money. And I think I'm also going to make it, and I like what Hotas was saying, I'm going to also make it available to you authors so that we can start some kind of a peer review mechanism of some sort as authors, so that we can exchange knowledge and also try to elevate each other as authors. There's no use in me saying I've got 20 books, you've got one, but we're writing for a common purpose to elevate the knowledge of our people, and also to change the mindset. So I think I'm in agreement that we should exchange books for free. So if you want any of my books as an author, you can just talk to me, and I'll be able to make that book available to you. So I hope, my details are also on the screen for anybody who wants to contact me and link with me on Facebook or LinkedIn or Twitter or other platforms, social media platform. So I think more than anything, I am grateful for this opportunity that has been given to us. And I think we should maybe do this maybe bi-monthly or maybe quarterly, so that it is not necessarily done when there is a big event such as the World Book Day. But because specifically as South Africans, because we've got matters also to put on the agenda of national interest, we have to do this as regularly as possible. So thank you very much for the opportunity. And I'm looking forward to hearing from the other authors and also meeting with them in the near future. Thank you very much, Tshwane, for organizing this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Montsho, and thank you for using the share screen feature. Moving on, we will now call forth Mr. Steve Hayes, who wrote the book, The Enchanted Grove. Sorry. Mr. Hayes, over to you, sir.
My name is Stephen Hayes. I was born in Durban, but I've lived in Tshwane for half my life. But this particular book, The Enchanted Grove, is for children. It's an adventure and fantasy story. So part of it is set in the real world, and part of it is the kind of experiences that you don't have in the physical world around us. So it's both adventure in the real world and also fantasy. What inspired me in writing it was two of my favorite authors, C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, were having a conversation, and Lewis said to Tolkien, if we want more of the stories we like, we'll have to write them ourselves. And they had a friend, Charles Williams, who wrote 7 novels, and I liked his 7 novels, but then he died and there were no more. And I thought there needed to be more stories like that. And as Lewis said to Tolkien, if we want more stories like that, we will have to write them ourselves. Another one who inspired me, particularly for writing children's books, was Alan Garner, who wrote similar books set in northwestern England. And what struck me is that all the books that I'd read of that kind were children's books that were set in England. There were very few that were set in South Africa. So South African children can read those books, but they are trying to picture an alien environment, something that is completely different from what they've grown up in. And yet, in my story also, it's an alien environment in that it's set in the past. It's set in the 1960s, and it's set during the time of apartheid. And that's partly because that's when I grew up. And so I have no experience of being a child after the end of apartheid. I only have experience of being a child in that period. And most of the children I know grew up in that period. And I've also found that children who have grown up since the end of apartheid have very little conception of what the past was like. I was speaking to some young people in our church congregation, and one of them attended the Stanza Papape school in Mamelodi. And I asked the young people, do any of you know who Stanza Papape was? And none of them did, not even the boy who went to that school. And so for a lot of children today, the past is a closed book. I haven't written it as a history book, but I have included some of the historical background so that children can experience, get some idea of what it was like to be a child in those times. The story is set in the southern Drakensberg, and it's set in school holidays, so the children are relaxing, they're not going to school. But first they meet a group of bullies, then they start attracting the attention of the police, who think they know too much about a secret government project, and the children then get into trouble with various groups of people practicing witchcraft, people in the police who are worried about them knowing too much about what the government is doing secretly, and various people like poachers who are up to no good. And so they get into trouble with all these people and have to get out of it. One of the difficulties I found in writing the book was trying to keep track of where the people were going, because they traveled around a lot, and working out how to get them there in a believable manner. And sometimes they traveled in an unbelievable manner as well, but you can't use too much of that. The other challenge is, having written the book, is actually getting readers, getting the kind of people to read the book who want to read it. It's intended primarily for children aged between about 9 and 12. But I think there are a lot of adults who also enjoy some children's books, like the Harry Potter books or the Narnia stories. But as I said, those are all set overseas in other countries. There are very few set in South Africa. So I've tried to write a story that has a South African flavor to it. For accessing the book is published in a paperback form, which costs about 230 Rand. You should be able to get a bookshop to order it, but you can order it directly from the distributors, which is Lulu Books in the United States. There is also an ebook version, which costs about 60 Rand, and that you should be able to get from most places that supply ebooks. Amazon is one, but there are several others as well. And as I say, it costs about 60 Rand to ebook, 230 Rand for the paperback. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Stephen Hayes. Ladies and gentlemen, we've just been offered a grace period so that all the authors can continue with the stipulated time, 4 minutes to 5 minutes. Now I'm moving on to Miss Leslie Mayer, who wrote the book Ashes to Ashes. Miss Leslie, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Let me just start my video here for you guys too. Oh, the host has stopped the video. You have to get it on that side as well. While you're getting that set up, I'd just like to say thank you for Tshwane Libraries for organizing all this. And I see it seems that you guys had a theme behind it, because a lot of the people are talking about death and suffering and all these things that we have been going through. So who I am, I'm a physiotherapist and I specialize in chronic pain. And I see a lot of patients that have experienced a lot of trauma in their lives, from being molested to home invasion, to suffering with chronic pain, to divorce, to death in the family. And these influence us physically, mentally, emotionally. And I'm an author of 9 books. So I've written, my first book was Tired of Being Tired to the Point of Being Hurtful, where it's basically my biography of who I am and how I overcame my pain stories. Then why I wrote this book is, or how I started writing, is a lot of my patients kept saying to me, I've got so much information during my sessions, and it would be really nice to have something handy that they can refer back to, because they forget all the tips that I give them. And the second one was, I was reading a number of different books. And as I was reading the books, I realized it was as if I was reading somebody's thoughts. Somebody was talking to me out loud. And I said, well, I can write like that. I can write a story in a story version, as if I'm talking to you now. And then the third one was, he said to me, you know, you're actually quite a good therapist. You know, I've seen a lot of other therapists, and the books not be successful. I believe I've got something to say. So the first book I wrote was targeted as people with chronic pain, but then the Gogga bit, and I started writing books for children, because my son was at school at that stage and he was suffering with children that were bullying him badly and to the point of strangulation, and he was unhappy. And I then started writing my series, the Help Me Cope series. So it's targeted at the life orientation skills subject at school. And the ages progress as well. So the first few books are for the younger group, but this Ashes for Ashes, Overcoming All Forms of Loss, are for children that are struggling with loss. So be it divorce, be it depression, be it death of a family member, be it death of a pet. There's a number of things that we can do. And if I show you my screen, let me just get it up here. This is the cover of the book. So this was our little hedgehog that passed away, and you can see I'm actually holding him with gloves on. And I was talking my son through this and helping him process it. And we were doing a little funeral for the hedgehog. And that's when this book was created in my mind. At the same time, I also started creating a second book, You Weren't Born in a Barn, Where Are Your Manners? And that's the cover of that one. And these were both launched in lockdown. So again, the target market was for the youngest children. Summaries of the book. The Ashes to Ashes book, as I mentioned, was for overcoming grief and anything. So divorces, even birth of a sibling, because the older child struggles to acclimatize to having this new being in the house. And often they feel that they are not loved as much, and they feel jealous of the baby. And then they start experiencing these feelings of, I'm not good enough, I'm not loved. And they actually start pulling away from the parents when it can actually be totally avoided. The how You Weren't Born in a Barn, Where Are Your Manners? This is basically how positivity attracts positivity, negativity attracts negativity. And I've noticed that many children in school would be have bad manners, and they're not following the rules, they're bullying each other. And these are basically, I've used 85 idioms in this book. And it just talks about, you know, too many chiefs, not enough Indians, how we should be working together as a team. So the challenges that I had with writing these books was I had to do it myself. So I'm self-published, I'm self-authored, I'm self-everything. I've learned how to do it on Kindle. I've put it on Amazon myself. So you will find them on Amazon and Kindle. I've printed them myself. So some of the copies you can get from myself. These two books specifically are only available on Amazon as both a Kindle and a hard copy. But it's a process of learning, you know, like a lot of the other authors were saying. You know, Armu was saying that they're talking about the stories in the different books. And this is what I'm trying to do in my books, is to help people understand their stories. And Pontsho was saying he did this to learn. And I have this motto that every year I must put away 10% of my finances to learn a new topic and a new thing. And this was one of them. So I learned how to use Kindle. I learned how to publish. I learned how to use Word, because I'm not computer literate, so I had to learn everything. I had to learn to copy and paste and put pictures in and cut and crop and write it out. I had to do everything. I had to even learn how to create my own covers. So it was an amazing journey for me, and it was in a steep learning curve, but it was fun, because I've now learned how to do it. The prices of the book, they're $12.85 on the Amazon version. And what I will do is I will post, as soon as we've done here and I've figured out how to stop sharing my screen with you, that how you can get access to my books with the website and the web pages. So thanks again for allowing me to do this. Thanks for helping. So yes, it's been challenging, but it's been fun. Tabu, thank you so much for having us. This has been awesome.
Thank you very much, Ms. Leslie. Thank you for the wonderful presentation. Moving forward, we're now going to call forth Ms. Mankedi Masha, who wrote the book Kipuluhile. Over to you, ma'am. Ms. Mankedi, we can't hear you. May you please kindly unmute the audio?
Am I clear right now?
Yeah, now we can see you and we can hear you. Thank you very much, ma'am.
All right, thank you. I am very thankful for this opportunity. I'm an author of 4 books. Kgodu e tswang lerotseng, Kipuluhile, Mankedi Masha's Undying Spirit, and the Power of the Sky. What motivated me to write Kipuluhile was after my domestic violence incident, which left me wheelchair bound. After I have been in a relationship with a narcissist, And my target is everyone, especially men and women in relationships, because Kipulogile is a biography about my domestic violence relationship that left me wheelchair bound. And then my books are available on www.mankedimasha.co.za or via WhatsApp is 072 995 4515, and my Facebook page is Mankedimasha. Also my Twitter is Mankedimasha. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ms. Mankedi. I believe we have come to the end of our author presentations, because I don't see the other authors who have not presented. So meaning they were not able to log in, which is unfortunate, but it's fine. We will now go to Ms. The chair-elect of LIASA, Library and Information Association of South Africa, Ms. Matlodi Moramudishi. Ms. Matlodi. Ladies and gentlemen, we're having a problem connecting Ms. Matlodi, so I will just wrap up for her. LIASA, as I said, it's Library and Information Association of South Africa. It's a association with it's tailored to take care of our profession, our library and information service profession. It offers training, it markets all library-related programs, and it advocates for improvement in our sector, if I can put it that way. Improvement in any form or in any shape, whether to improve national policies so that they can benefit the service that we offer to the community and to the nation at large. LIASA partners with stakeholders from Department of Education, Department of Health, all institutions that you can think of. We strive to partner with them for the purposes of giving the community the services that will benefit them in the future. Currently, we have partnered with them. We are currently using their platform, and we would like to say our thank you to LIASA Houghton North Branch and to LIASA, the national office. Thank you very much. That was the little that I had in terms of LIASA. Ladies and gentlemen, now we have come to our questions and answer session. I don't know if anyone has a question, they can send it on the chat or raise their hand so that we can start a dialogue between ourselves. Thank you. I will give the audience only a minute while I'm observing hands and I'm observing questions on the chat section. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, I see a hand from Mr. Mohase, so we will give him the platform. Mr. Mohase, please continue, sir.
Yes, sir. My question is directed to Mr. Hayes. I have heard him a little bit before my bandwidth suffered. He alluded to Stanza Bopape. I couldn't capture, you know, the entire story. Can I be clarified or hear what he was saying about the stanza?
thank you so much, Mr. Mahase. Mr. Hayes, clarity seeking question from Mr. Mahase. You mentioned something about stanza Bopape. If you can just clarify that for us. Thank you.
I was speaking about young people who weren't aware of past history. And I was speaking to young people at our church, and one of them went to the Stanza Bopape High School in Mamelodi. And I asked the young people, do you know who Stanza Bopape was? And none of them knew, not even the boy who went to the school. And so the point I'm making is that young people nowadays know very little of the history of even 20, 30 years ago. So the point was the young people knew so little.
No, I'm clarified. I really appreciate your answer.
Okay, so does that answer your question?
No, it does. And that is clarity, you know, at full, because it is true, our children don't know our history.
Okay, thanks.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you for that. I'm still observing, ladies and gentlemen. So far, I see no hand, and on the chat section, it's just contacts and mostly compliments. So I don't know. We'll do a waiting game. Any questions? Any clarities? The floor is all yours.
Hi, Tabu. I would like to just tell Miss Mankedi that I'm very impressed that she's actually written a book in her state that she's in, being a paraplegic, because it's a very, very hard thing to do, both being a paraplegic or quadriplegic as well as write an author. I don't need my video.
You do.
But you got my picture.
Yeah. No, thank you so much for that. I hope Miss Mankedi has heard you.
You know, I work in that industry. I don't necessarily work with the quadriplegics, but I work with chronic pain and people that have been injured. And what she has gone through is remarkably hard. And for her to go through all that and write a book, I take my hat off to her. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Hayes, may you please kindly mute your audio, please, sir. And Miss Matty Els, may you please kindly mute your audio. Thank you. Just waiting.
I think my hand is up.
Oh, sorry, Mr. Muntu. I was not aware, sir. Please, the floor is all yours.
That's fine, I forgive you. No, I just wanted to, because from publishing point of view and distribution point of view, I think we have met the challenges of taking your book to a bookstore and realizing, I mean, it's exciting to say my book is in exclusive and other part of the bookstores, but the reality is that you are only getting a little margin of the profit that is made on that book, because for example, exclusive will take 60% and you have to take another percent and give it to the distributor and all of those. That perhaps we should start to become proactive about our selling and selling points. That perhaps we should maybe, for specific group of authors like the ones that are on this platform now, start something like a book stockfell, where whenever a member releases a book, then we buy 5 copies from each, and in a way, empowering each other and making sure that we've got that. And I think when we do it through direct sales as well, then it becomes a little bit of, an assistant, because we do need this money to print, to reprint, to correct, to re-edit, and also making sure that we attend the book fairs in different parts of the country and getting our books out there. So I think maybe it should start with us and not necessarily be reliant on somebody to sell our book. Yes, if you can do your own marketing, that's okay. You can be able to do that. But then I think in some cases, let us create our own stock files and say, if you have, you are releasing a book, then we'll buy, deliberately so, buy 5 copies from you or 2 copies from you each. And you can imagine how the numbers will then start to be elevated with time, and also use our own platforms also to promote your book. We can even choose to say, we'll promote your book for 5 weeks or 1 week or 2 weeks clean, specifically 30 of us specifically focusing on marketing your book. And then the other person will get an opportunity and another person will get an opportunity. And that, I think, is working with purpose and intention and trying to elevate ourselves as, the custodian of literature in the country. Otherwise, slightly, I think we're working backwards. It's all about individuals. Yes, it is about individuals, but then I think we can do it more about unity and amplifying our voice, especially to the audience who need to be changed. I thank you for that.
Thank you, Mr. Muntu. A proposal on the table. Ladies and gentlemen, we are happy you are on one platform. All your contacts will be made available to all of you so that you can take these discussions further and see whether you start any initiatives related to your cause and that sort of thing. I note Mr. Mohase's hand. I'm firstly going to pose a question to the authors from Mr. Hlophe. The question is from Mr. Hlophe. How much did it cost to publish one book, and how many copies were in the final product? Thank you. That is the question being posed to the authors.
Chair, have you recognized me? I'm Aubrey.
Yes, sir. Your hand was noted. I just decided to ask a question first, which is coming from Mr. Hlophe. Anyone
Okay, so
who's, oh, sorry, sir, you were saying?
No, I actually wanted to find out if you want us to give answer to Mr. Hlophe.
Yes, please. Yes, please. You are more than welcome.
The first question was how much?
How much did it cost to publish one book, and how many copies were in the final product?
From my side, in terms of publishing the book, I had to fork out 4,300, and I had 100 copies.
Meaning the 4,000, it covered 100 copies.
Yes, including the proof book first.
Okay, noted, noted.
Tabu, for myself, because I self-published, it didn't cost me anything. So, but I had to do it all on the computer myself. I had to do the cover myself. I had to do everything myself. So those were for my series books that I did. It didn't cost me anything. But when I printed the books, I would have to pay about 85 Rand per book. And that's per book. So if you're going to get 10 copies, that's 850 bucks. But when I got somebody to help me publish my first book, he charged me 10,000 Rand to show me the ins and the outs and to help me proofread it and everything. And then I got 10 copies.
Thank you so much, Ms. Leslie. There's a response via the chat feature from Brother Martin, the Chosen. He says it took him 5,000 for editing, proofreading, and 20 copies. The response was sent to everyone, so I'm hoping everyone saw that response from Brother Martin. Thank you. Mr. Hayes, your hand is noted, sir. Please, the floor is all yours.
I just wanted to respond to that. My first book, I self-published in ebook form, and in that form, it cost nothing. I did it through an organization called Smashwords, and because it's an ebook, there's no raw materials, it's just produced, and when they sell them, they take a cut and they give you the rest of the money. So that doesn't cost anything. The book that I've just published now during the lockdown, I also published in paperback, and that is done by print on demand, which means that when people order a copy, they print and bind it as they are ordered. And that one cost me the price of 230 Rand for a proof copy to check the typesetting and that everything was okay. And then I will also need to pay for 5 more copies to send to the copyright libraries. Each copyright library needs to get 1 copy of every book published in South Africa. And so that's what it will cost. And also my son designed the cover, and I want to give him some money for doing that. But the typesetting and the setting up of the book, I did myself on a computer. That's what you do when you self-publish. Obviously, if you need editing or proofreading by other people, then that will cost more. But print on demand means you don't need to print 500 copies. You only print a copy when they are sold.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hayes. I am noting Mr. Mohase's hand. I don't know if it was raised previously or...
It was.
Oh,
it
you
was
are clarified. Oh, okay. You are clarified now.
No. I actually wanted on the Q&A session. Because of I raised my hand and you recognized me in giving, the answer to the publishing and the cost. So basically, all what I wanted to raise was that yesterday at our book club session, we received a call to say that Minister Nathi Mthethwa, Minister of Arts and Culture, will be distributing books today at Stanza Pape High School in Mamelodi. And we're asking ourselves which books are they being distributed. But nonetheless, it seeks, to address the question of intergovernmental, relations and Tshwane having to actually inform, the department about local authors and the books, because of schools today have established, libraries, and it will be very important that we get assistance in that regard. The other issue that I actually want to raise is the homeworks that children are receiving today. Grade 3 class parents have actually approached me with the assignments from school, which are most probably addressed in my book, Mamelodi Reflections of a Lifetime, and you don't see or find that material in the library. Children are asked, when was Mamelodi established? What was it called before it was Mamelodi? Who are the heroes, found in Mamelodi? Do you have any interesting sites? So those typical things, Chairperson, I was just raising to, alert the city that the curriculum and also material that is found in libraries should be in sync. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mohase. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to almost the end of the program. So I'll have to close the question and answer session. Just to highlight, the proposals that were given by Stenmund, so please keep that in mind when you receive the contacts from the other author colleagues who are on this platform. I'm now going to call our Deputy Director in the Library Information Services in Tshwane, Mr. Sipho Banda. Good morning. Good morning all. Good morning all to the stakeholders. Good morning all to the colleagues. My task is very easy, simple. My task is that of closing this ceremony and thanking everyone. But firstly, it would be an injustice to actually thank everyone without starting with the Almighty, with respect to all the religions of people who are attending here and people who are not attending. I would like to thank God and all his angels that he has sent to make sure that this program materializes with all the challenges that we are undergoing in the background to actually make sure that this program materializes. He has actually made sure that this program materializes, and all of you, particularly our VIP, you writers, have managed to actually lock in. Technology, we all know, technology is a challenge. With this new normal, it is actually more challenging to actually conduct such programs to actually make it a success. But being that as it may, thank you to him and all his angels. We will forever be indebted to him. He created us. So it's up to us to make sure that we praise him all the time so that such programs are actually successful. I would also like to actually thank you, the VIPs. I call you, all of you, our writers, people that we've invited, people who actually came to this program. You left everything behind and join us in this program to actually celebrate with us the World Book Day, which happens on the 23rd of every April of every year, to actually celebrate what you guys are doing, your products, books that you are writing, literature in its entirety, you know, to actually make sure that libraries present and make accessible, relevant information to the general public. People must read information that comes, authentic information that comes from the local writers. We're actually proud of this program to say that we have termed it local as lekker. You know, the national theme is that of share story. We said we must share local stories. You guys are coming from the local area. Some of you are from within the boundaries of Tshwane, some are outside of the boundaries of Tshwane. We are very much appreciative of that fact, to say that people will be appreciative. People would know, would acknowledge that they have writers within their own neighborhood, people who are writing stories that they can relate to. We are very thankful for that. Moving on, I would like to thank our management in its entirety from our department, Community and Social Development Services. I would like to thank them solely for the fact that they've actually gave us a go-ahead to run with this program, given the risks that there are with this technology that is actually giving us challenges. We said, look, service delivery is service delivery. You know, we need to actually offer services such as this to the general public. The general public will then acknowledge that the city is actually reaching out to them to actually share, to make information available, and actually to make them know that there are opportunities out there where they can use platforms such as this to actually share, to actually make known that what they are doing. In this instance, we wanted local writers to be known, local writers to come to us, local writers to open doors for us to actually reach to them so that we can share this information. We would like to thank the department in its entirety, from the HOD, actually from the MMC, HOD, our DH, everyone, our director, for allowing us to actually perform this. It would be actually also an injustice not to thank the team that has organized this program, the team that has gone to length inviting all of you guys in this program, Elizabeth and the team, the program director, Thabo. I would like to thank you very much for actually facilitating this program. We know now that we're having celebrities that we can use to our disposal. And then also, I would like to thank each and every staff member that is from the regions to say, guys, colleagues, please encourage local writing, engage local writers, engage your stakeholders, and then work with them to actually, promote them, because most of our writers are actually at a very, very low level. They don't know what to do, how to go about doing it. I am very thankful to the answers that some of the writers have given to say they've done self-publishing. What I would want to actually put it as a challenge is that we are going to engage most of you on a one-on-one basis so that you can help us, because we don't want this program to end here. We want it to go on an annual basis so that we can gauge ourselves whether we are reaching what we intend reaching. We want to see a lot of writers writing. We want to see our facilities full of books written by local authors, actually in indigenous languages more so. We want people to write in indigenous languages so that the languages themselves are also promoted. I would like to also thank the Librarians Forum, also our sister department, the Communications, Marketing and Events, for actually making it a point that they brand our program. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for our association, as Thabo has alluded. LIASA is our association, is an association of librarians, wherein librarians are promoted, librarians are trained. So I would like to thank them in this instance for allowing us to use their platform. This platform we are using belongs to the Librarian Association of South Africa. We are very thankful to the president. We would like to thank you very much for allowing this to happen, for partnering with us. It's a very, very huge achievement from our side to actually have done this. We would like to also thank you authors, the forums that you guys have formed and the ones that are about to be formed. We would like to thank you very much for that effort. Please do those things, form forums, and then let's grow. To the book suppliers, book publishers, we would like to thank you very much for assisting our brothers and sisters out there who want to publish books and all of that. And then lastly but not least, I would like to thank each and every one who has attended this program. Without you, this is not a program. It's actually a dialogue between us and one or two writers, but all the attendees, including the presenters themselves, I would like to thank you very much. And please, next time when we send invites for any program, please join us, because we are now going to form part and parcel of our stakeholder list, where we are going to send you an invite to a certain program. We are having programs such as the indigenous language preservation, which is linked to this, to the one that we are having now. The indigenous language preservation is where we are promoting languages. These languages, our language, in the city of Tshwane, we've got 8 languages from the national language list. We have 8 languages that we want to promote. So all the writers that are attending this, please participate in that program. That program, you write books in any of the indigenous languages. We are going to have rollout programs where we are going to engage, try and assist from 0, I think, to 100, where we are going to make sure that anyone who wants to publish a book is actually assisted in that regard. We will try our best from the city to make resources available to make that a reality. Because without our indigenous languages, we don't know where we are going. We don't know where we come from. We would know where we come from, but we won't know where we are going. So, and our languages would be extinct in any way. If we don't write in our languages would be extinct. English is not our mother tongue, it's not our language. The other languages belongs to South Africa. Afrikaans, Zulu, Sotho, Sepedi, Tswana, and the rest. Those are indigenous languages. Please, people, please. We want to encourage you to write more books in those languages. Well, for those who want to still continue in English, it's fine. So long as you keep on writing and writing, people will read your books. And I think at the back of my mind, with you guys, working with us, each situation such as the banning of libraries will end. will actually be mitigated, because people will know that most of the books that are inside the library belongs to you guys, belong to the community. So they would be not eager to actually ban a library or ban or even vandalize a library, because they know valuable assets are there written by their own brothers and sisters. Without actually wasting the program director's time, I would like to thank you each. I would want to go on and thank you, but you know what? Thank you very much for that. And then I think I'm done from my side. Thank you, Program Director.
Thank you, Mr. Sotebanda. Ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the program. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for logging in. And thank you for being a part of the program. Now it's time for us to log out. We'll see each other next time. Reminder that you will receive the contacts for your author colleagues, the people who have logged in with you, attended this program, so that you can engage further.